This is WD-40, and this is a spray lubricant that is meant to be used on, particularly on rust. That's what most people use it for. When you have any type of moving parts and they might get rusted, WD-40 seems to be sort of the go-to lubricant. Now, as mentioned before, you want to consider overspray, and so let's look at a couple of situations. Let's say the ladder is straight up and down. Okay, there's your side rails, and then here's a couple of rungs, and let's say your lock is right in here. This is the mechanism that locks the extension part of the ladder onto the lower part of the ladder. And right here, let's say that's where your bolts are that bolt it down to the side rails and allow a pivot point. This is where you might get a little rust, and this is where you might want to spray in some WD-40 into these joints right in here. But if the ladder, for instance, is standing straight up and you spray, one thing that can happen if you're spraying in a downward fashion like this, you could overspray and get it on the step. It could then possibly drip down to the lower part. Or even if the ladder is laying on the ground and you spray into these parts, when you eventually lift it straight up and down, if there's any extra WD-40 just caught in little holes, little compartments in there, it'll then drip down. It might drip down and hit there, might drip down and start dripping on this rung. And so there's also the idea of not just overspraying, but the idea of the WD-40 then dripping onto a step. And with WD-40, being that it's a lubricant, guess what? It makes it very slick. And so you have to be aware of this. So the question is, what do you do? And so I suppose that you might consider, say the day before, at least a day before you need a ladder, set it out on the ground or on a couple of sawhorses, spray all the moving parts, and let the WD-40 work in. And then what you probably want to do is go get a bucket of hot soapy water. Use dishwashing detergent because it's got grease cutters in it, and it's more likely that it's going to be able to bond to the WD-40 and carry it away. And so then I would take that with some kind of a scrub brush and just scrub the areas in particular where you just sprayed the WD-40. Again, this is after giving it plenty of time to work in and loosen the rusty parts. And then when you're done with that, get out your hose and just really rinse the heck out of it. Just rinse all that soap away, and it's going to carry away all the excess WD-40. And once again, as long as you do that a good solid day in advance, then the ladder will have a chance to dry off.